it's not what Marc did, it's when he did it. 1999, you're in a rented apartment or something, starting this idea that software is superfluous. How desperate were you in 1999?
Oh, we were pretty desperate. We had 3 guys in an apartment in San Francisco with an idea that software was going to transform and move into something that we now call the cloud.
Yeah.
And it's all come to pass and it's still happening, actually. Salesforce is still the fastest growing software company of all time, so it's very exciting.
Bob Dylan shocked the world in different phases, including picking up an electric guitar at one point. You're on a growth trajectory right now. I've heard 10 billion, 20 billion, and that. What's the next shock for Salesforce to have an attitude adjustment across the cloud?
Well, we didn't have to change our name like Bob Dylan to become successful. We had to just do what we were doing right from the beginning, which was connect with our customers and help them connect with their customers in a whole new way. And that's what is so exciting about what Salesforce does today. I mean, that's why so many companies here at Davos you see using Salesforce, because there's this sea change going on and that companies are really working hard to develop that customer intimacy, and Salesforce.
But you've got a lot of competition. Come on, Jeff Bezos just bought the largest house in Washington. I think it's like the size of Delaware or something. Not only how are you going to compete with Amazon, but how do you compete with the other pretenders to what you invented?
Well, on one side, Amazon's a great partner of ours, actually, and we and a great customer of ours too. In fact, Amazon uses Salesforce to connect to its customers in sales and service and marketing.
Right.
But on the other side, we also work with a lot of amazing retailers like Brunello Cucinelli, who you know, or Louis Vuitton, or even See's Candy.
Why do you think
they all run? I have a feeling you know Brunello Cucinelli.
That's not fair.
And here's the thing: those guys, those next-gen retailers who are kind of getting slaughtered in the brick-and-mortar world, they need Salesforce to connect with their customers in a new way through retail. So these are exciting times.
They're exciting times, and I guess everybody's making money. But you have your critics. How are you going to position Salesforce within the new technology? You're one of the few technology guys in Happy Valley here. Well, how are you going to reposition, not for the next 12 months, but for the next 5 years? I can't imagine where my iPhone 7 is in 5 years.
Well, I'll tell you the thing that's amazing about CRM, when we started our business in 1999, like you said, CRM, or customer management, was nascent, a small market. Right. But it'll be the largest segment of enterprise software by 2020, $100 billion TAM. And today we're #1 in that segment, and we're really continuing to innovate and look for ways that we can help our customers become more successful.
One of the things that's so important here is the concept of Apple, not only the trajectory the stock has been on, but the place, the aesthetic of Steve Jobs.
I've known that company for a long time.
Well, as you know, Marc, there's a certain blather to Apple. People are Apple experts. You're one of the few. You actually were there as an intern out of USC. Steve Jobs walking around way back.
1984.
Is this Apple the same as the Apple of 1984 in that Super Bowl commercial?
Well, parts of it are the same. You know, that kind of iconoclastic feeling of that we're going to change the world, and we know what's right and you don't. That part is the same. You know, what's different is Steve Jobs isn't there. That's the part that's different. And Steve Jobs is probably the greatest visionary of our industry of all time, and he changed the world. And it's hard to be a tech company without your visionary. I mean, they're doing their best, but it's not easy. I'll tell you, it's kind of funny in that they have a lot of great new products. I mean, I love even the new AirPods. That they are doing a lot of interesting and innovative things, but it's hard when you're doing it without him. He was special and unique.
When we're done with the interview, I want Mr. Benioff to help me with my login codes to iCloud. I can't figure it out. But your world,
the Russians will help.
Your world, the Russians will help. We'll get to that in a minute. But in your world, we're going to go through a phone. How does Salesforce.com and your competitors handle the cloud through whichever phone we have in our hand, business or personal?
Well, I think that's fascinating, how you think about computing today. I mean, you just made a huge shift in your mind from where we started with personal computers into the most popular computer today is the mobile phone, billions and billions of them, and now they're making them for $20 so that everybody can have a computer far more powerful than the most powerful Macintosh, or you knew the Lisa before the Lisa was Lisa. That is something now in your pocket that's way beyond that capability. But now computers are going to disappear because we see voice
Right.
taking over. You see things like Alexa from Amazon. You see like Google Home and others, where we're just talking to our computers and walking into a room or talking to our watch, and that's an incredible next generation of computing.
I came here with a slogan, and I change it every year. Populism trumps Davos. Okay, that's old news. It's 2 days old. My new one, thank you so Martin Sorrell, is the idea of Davos and the uncertainty of the uncertainty. I've never seen so much lack of confidence here in public policy, philanthropy, where business is going right now. What would be your counsel to Mr. Trump as he becomes president and he considers American technology and innovation? What's his first to-do list?
Well, I don't completely agree with your analysis. I'm going to start there because I think when we were here in 2009 and 2010 during the financial crisis,
09's an equivalent. Granted,
things were a lot worse.
Yeah.
People were pretty dour in their view of what was happening, and they were really, really worried. I mean, we're on the brink of a global financial collapse just a few years ago. Now, I think they have political anxiety, but I don't think they have economic anxiety.
How do you
I think that's a little different.
How do you make Mr. Trump a technologist?
Well, I hope that he's surrounding himself with great people. I mean, that. The kids that are in high school today and college have a capability and a fluidity with computers that even you and I don't have. And of course, he's 70 years old, so he's going to have a whole different experience with computers. So I hope he's surrounding himself with smart people who have a good vision for the future and can align the priorities of the country with the future of technology.
Let's come back to Salesforce.
Information technology and biotechnology, by the way, because there is technology is changing in many different areas.
You and I were coming up here, and we saw the moon rise over the mountains here in an early morning. Gene Cernan, the last guy on the moon, just died. He was one of America's great heroes with what he did with that cart going around the moon. Where is that aspiration in America to take the risks like you took in 1999?
Well, you certainly see the transformation of that to where, we have some new heroes like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos who want to take on that. I mean, one thing that's interesting is when you and I were growing up, that was a government operation going to the moon.
It was.
Now we see
Elon Musk.
Now we see the modern Steve Jobses are saying, "Hey, the modern pursuit of the computer is I'm going to space. I'm going to live in space. I'm going to, even Richard Branson has got a spaceship that we're going to buy tickets on." So that's a pretty big transformation and entrepreneurialism. I'm in favor of that.